If you stepped into a supermarket from 100 years ago, most of the things you see today would be missing. No brightly colored drinks, no instant snacks, no frozen dinners. Even some of your favorite flavors didn't exist. Not because the ingredients were rare, but because the very idea of them hadn't been invented yet. The foods we take for granted today were born from strange accidents, desperate survival strategies, and marketing tricks so powerful they rewired our taste buds forever. Let's start with one of the simplest. A meal so common now, it feels ancient, and yet it's younger than your grandparents. Instant noodles. In 1958, Japan is still recovering from the devastation of World War II. Food shortages are severe. One man, Momofuku Ando, decides to solve it by creating a meal that could feed people cheaply, store for months, and be ready in 3 minutes. The result? Instant noodles. They didn't just feed Japan, they took over the planet. Today, over 100 billion servings are eaten annually. That's more than 13 bowls for every person on Earth. But here's what most people don't know. The invention of instant noodles didn't just change pantries. It quietly pushed forward another food revolution in the frozen aisle, and it started with soldiers craving a taste of home. Frozen pizza. After World War II, returning American soldiers couldn't stop talking about pizza, a taste they'd discovered in Italy. Frozen food technology already existed, but pizza was a challenge. Early frozen pizzas were bland, soggy, and barely edible. Then came the breakthrough, a dough formula that could survive freezing without losing its chew. This one innovation transformed pizza into a freezer staple, shaping how we think about convenience food. And that technology would lead to something far stranger, a dessert that was marketed as a triumph of space travel, even though it never actually made it to space. Space ice cream. Late in 1960s, astronaut ice cream appears in gift shops and school trips, freeze-dried to survive the rigors of spaceflight. It was promoted as a treat eaten by Apollo astronauts, except it wasn't. Not once did it fly aboard Apollo 11. In reality, it was too crumbly for microgravity, but the marketing stuck. And the success of this fake space food proved something. When you mix technology with storytelling, people will eat almost anything. That same mix of science and story would soon give rise to one of the most iconic snacks in modern history. One born from a total accident involving melted chocolate. Microwave popcorn. In 1945, the engineer Percy Spencer is testing radar equipment when he notices a chocolate bar in his pocket has melted. Intrigued, he experiments with popcorn kernels and the microwave oven is born. But microwave popcorn as we know it wouldn't appear until the 1980s, when special heat susceptor bags were designed to pop kernels perfectly in just minutes. By then, the idea that food could be engineered specifically for a cooking technology was taking over. And in the world of candy, that idea created a flavor that doesn't exist in nature, yet dominates store shelves worldwide. Blue raspberry. In 1970s, candy makers face a problem. All their fruity flavors are red, orange, or yellow. How could they stand out? The answer wasn't a new fruit, it was a new color. Blue raspberry doesn't exist in nature, it was pure invention brought to life with artificial dyes. It didn't just work, it became a cultural icon. But those same dye technologies would soon power an even bigger market. One that didn't start with kids, but with soldiers. Energy drinks. Mid-20th century, military pilots are given caffeinated tonics to stay alert during long missions. Decades later, those formulas are rebranded, sweetened, and sold to the masses as energy drinks. Today, it's an $86 billion industry, sponsoring extreme sports, esports, music festivals, and reshaping how billions of people get their daily rush. And here's the strange thing. When you trace the origins of so many modern foods, they come from war, accidents, or pure marketing fantasy. Which brings us to a sauce that started in a small kitchen and ended up in nearly every restaurant in America. Sriracha. In 1980s, a Vietnamese immigrant named David Tran arrives in Los Angeles with a recipe in his head and peppers in his bag. He bottles a sauce in reused baby food jars, slaps a rooster on the label, and gives it away to friends. It isn't sweet, it isn't smoky, it's unapologetically spicy and unlike anything on American shelves. Within decades, Sriracha is in over 70% of US restaurants, shaping global food culture. And its meteoric rise inspires other brands to take exotic flavors and repackage them for mass markets, leading to one of the most controversial spreads of our time. Nutella. World War II makes chocolate scarce in Italy. So, pastry maker Pietro Ferrero stretches his cocoa supply by mixing it with hazelnuts and sugar. The result? A rich, creamy spread that becomes known as Nutella. What began as a wartime compromise becomes a worldwide phenomenon. Today, over 365,000 tons are produced each year. And just like instant noodles, frozen pizza, and energy drinks, Nutella's origin story proves one thing: scarcity and crisis often create the foods we can't live without. Which leaves one question: what foods are being quietly invented today that will dominate the shelves of 2125? Or what's being created right now that future generations will consider normal and we can't even imagine yet? These hidden stories of survival, invention, and strange origins are just the tip of the iceberg. If you want to go deeper into the world's most unexpected and untold truths, check out my ebook, Hidden Truths. And once you hear them, you'll never forget. And don't forget to subscribe. We're on the road to 100 subscribers, and when we get there, there's a surprise waiting.